Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. It is Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016, and I'm really excited about this show because we have my really good friend Judd Weiss on, who has recently made a very big announcement. Some of you may have heard it, some of you may have not, but we'll let him tell you. First, let's say hello to my beautiful, handsome co-host, Josh from Volturo. Hey, Josh, what's going
Oh
on?
shucks. Oh man, I'm so full of popcorn because this whole Craig Wright thing has just been another big popcorn fest watching it all unfold. I mean, Bitcoin it never ceases to amaze how exciting this whole journey is. I mean, here we have this really strange way of confessing to be Satoshi. I mean, there's so many holes, it's like Swiss cheese. And it's stunning. We have this guy just coming out of the woodwork. I mean, first he was outed by Wired, in November, and then he disappeared, and it was all over. And now he's back, flying Andreessen down and John Mann down to prove in a closed environment that he is him. He is Satoshi, and it kind of reminded me of Uri Geller in the 90s or the 80s. Was it the 80s? Where he was getting all these scientific tests done to show that he can prove that he can bend spoons, and then the amazing Randy pulled off the same stunt. He was like a debunker who then pretended he could do it as well, or got people together, and then also managed to fool scientists. So I feel really, I just don't know. I don't have any sort of, I don't really care if he is. I think it's all a bit of a cult of personality. And really, at the end of the day, Bitcoin is about the maths, and we should stick to the maths and not worry about these personalities. They're fun, and it's interesting, definitely. And the roller coaster keeps on going on. But yeah, what do you think about all this?
I haven't been paying attention, but it seems fake, and I don't really care, basically.
Nice,
I
nice.
think that it's funny that everybody's getting really excited about it, but it's not something that I'm, really thinking about.
Yeah,
Who's at my door? I really loathe that when that happens.
it's an interesting thing. I mean, this cult of personality. Once Satoshi was this idea, this dream, this thing. It didn't really have a we didn't really have a something we could pick on the faults of a human. So it was this extraordinary idea, and as soon as you put a human face to it, you can pick on it and destroy it, or other people can, say, well, Bitcoin, look at it, this guy, he was the inventor and he's crap. And so really, Bitcoin is bigger than any person. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll see how it rolls out.
Yeah, I haven't really had much time to follow it, but I think that there's going to be something, suspicious about it. Um, I don't know. Why don't we ask Judd what he thinks? Judd, welcome
Absolutely.
to the show. What do you think about
Hey guys.
Satoshi?
Well, it's fun to have a little bit of soap opera in the Bitcoin world again.
A
Uh,
little bit, as opposed to
Yeah.
all the other calm, totally normal times in the Bitcoin space.
yeah, I have no idea. I have no dog in this fight, but Gavin said it seemed like real to Gavin, so I just assume, Gavin's an honest guy. Other than that, I have no knowledge of this. I didn't really look into it much further. But everybody's skeptical except for Gavin. So that's so weird. I just don't know what to make of it. Is it possible that it's actually the right guy and it's just he's not being clear enough so everybody's questioning it? Is everybody questioning it, or is everybody very seriously doubtful that it is him?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it really is as simple as signing either from block 9 or block 1 a message, and it's like 30-second job. It's really quite easy. Instead, he came out with this huge long post, rambling and raving. You couldn't make heads or tail, and it really looked like a post to confuse the press, who would then go, okay, it looks technical, sold, retweet.
Right. But
Uh,
so you're saying it's possible, it's just he did it in a weird way if it was really the real Satoshi.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. Isn't there the whole Charlie Lee, I am the founder of Litecoin
Yeah, he showed a better
example?
way. He showed a better
Right.
way, but that
So like,
doesn't mean that Craig isn't Satoshi.
um,
Yeah, it doesn't. But I find it like you don't need to. The good thing about cryptographic proof is you really don't need to fly someone down to London or multiple people to show them in a closed environment,
Yeah.
and then and it's the kind of thing where you think, well, if I mean, Gavin
Okay. So it's
bought his own
fishy.
laptop and
It's
stuff,
fishy.
so
It's very fishy and suspicious, basically. So there's a lot of room for doubt, but nobody's saying that it's absolutely not him. I don't know. Is that what people are saying?
I'm sure that there's trolls on Reddit saying that it's absolutely not him, but
I don't know.
well, yeah. Look, it's really sad that if he is Satoshi, that he came out like this because the last thing this community needs is more. It's more divide and conquer sort of tactics being pressed against it, whether it's meant to or not. That's what it'll do. People will jump into a camp of either hating the guy or loving the guy,
Yeah.
and that really sucks because at the end of the day, 2 + 2 = 4. It doesn't matter who asks the question.
If that is Satoshi, I wish he remained anonymous because he's definitely a polarizing personality.
is he pro-freedom, this guy? What's his vibe? I really
Yeah.
haven't followed up much
Yeah,
about it.
he seems like he's pretty much a libertarian.
All right, good. Well, that's like a basic requirement for me liking him. No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of libertarians, we have here with us the running mate from John McAfee's candidacy towards the American presidency on the Libertarian Party. You are Judd Weiss is the running mate. How does that feel? What does that entail? And how did you get that?
Wait, hold on. This is my show. I have more important pressing questions to ask Judd. First
Okay,
of all,
sure.
Judd, how
You
did
want to
you
ask me about my cat instead?
well,
What's more
not yet.
pressing?
I mean, we're going to save the best for last. But wait a
Sure.
second. I'd like to know how did this happen? Where in the world did you and John McAfee hang out that he was like, you should run for vice president with me? So
It
that's
was,
sort of Josh's question, but I
yeah,
wanted to understand how this actually went down.
yeah.
Because John's a pretty
Now it's your
interesting
question.
character.
John's a maniac, more than an interesting character. I can vouch for that. Hopefully one day, if I work very hard, I could be half the maniac that is John McAfee. Uh, so, but we'll see. We'll see. I might get there. I might not. But in any case, this was actually the idea of the campaign manager thought of this because Gary Johnson had a lot of cred and love in the scene. He's been around for a while, and but he's just not a very exciting, dynamic character. And here comes John McAfee entering the race, and he's very exciting, very dynamic, but he doesn't have a lot of that love and cred and respect in the community for a long time. He's relatively new to the community, and
Mhm.
so the campaign manager thought that I would be a great potential running mate option because I do have a lot of respect from the community. I know a lot of people, and actually, it just started because they were asking me if I would throw a fundraiser at my house, and then the conversation developed from there. And it was just like it was. I think I'm not even sure if it was earnest or jokingly addressed to me because I can't really tell because sometimes people throw out ideas as a joke just to see how they'll stick. But anyway, I mean, I like the idea. It kind of blew my mind at first that that's even possible, and then as I thought about it, it made a lot of sense. I think me and him fit together in a lot of cool ways. In fact, I'm I speak my mind. I'm very let's just say I'm not politically correct, so I would be considered political suicide for any presidential candidate except for McAfee. With McAfee, I'm the chaser, he's the hard alcohol. And so it's actually okay. Like whatever I say is like nothing compared to this guy. So it actually works in a weird way. Like you must have seen his crazy videos like how to uninstall McAfee antivirus. Have you seen
Yeah,
that?
I told
Brilliant.
Yeah,
my dad to look that up the other day.
right. So that's a parody video that he made of how the media is treating him, because everybody was coming up with these gotcha stories, like he's living with 7 women in Belize and he had all these guns and he's a maniac. So he just decided he'll just make a parody video of it and go way more extreme than the media is going, and then there's no more gotcha articles after that. And it really did stop, because like what are you gonna do to like reveal about McAfee after that video came out? You
Yeah.
have nothing.
It was brilliant. It was really a sensational move.
Although
Um,
it's not going to help us with the Midwest housewives around the country, uh,
mm,
but but we're not targeting them. We're specifically targeting youth in our campaign in a big way. Have you seen the first 2 videos that I put out?
yes, I have. Very
Uh,
good. I saw the big write-up in Forbes. That's pretty
oh, cool.
fancy. I was super
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I
I
like
was
that
super
you put
excited.
Ross in there. That was good.
Hell yeah, I'm a huge Ross fan. Um,
Good. Well, I need to get him out of there. I think I'm going to jail tomorrow to visit, so.
yeah,
um,
somehow. Oh well, if we actually get the White House, which is something I don't promise, he's absolutely getting pardoned. Not only is he getting pardoned, but like for instance, we want to do a whistleblower prize money. So like Edward Snowden's charges get dropped, and the NSA from their budget has to pay him reward money for exposing for being a whistleblower on corruption and lies. We
Isn't
want to
that just
make
tax money, though? The NSA budget,
right.
to be fair?
Yes, yes. So we don't want it to come from taxpayers. We want whistleblower reward money to come from the agencies that have actually had the corruption, abuse, waste, and fraud exposed, so that all of the government officials will now be chasing that reward money. And that's one of our ideas to help clean up government. But that's
That's
something
great.
we haven't really announced that one yet. That's something we're going to really push in the general. People are asking how are things going to change when we get into the general. They might change, but the only change is going to be we're going to go a lot bolder and a lot more controversial, because
I think
yes,
that's the ticket. Look, if you want to compete with, I mean, honestly, I'll even say I think Austin Peterson's been doing really well. I think all the candidates are doing really well, but there's definitely that some little spark and fire about McAfee. And what I like about it is that Trump is such a raging maniac.
yeah,
We need our own raging maniac
yeah.
to
We need
kind
our own
of.
strong man. Exactly.
Exactly. Well, somebody who's going to entertain people. I mean, if we're talking about bread and circus, we've got the circus.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah,
so
we
I
can
think
do
that
that.
that should be interesting.
How does
So
that work?
yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to, how does it work? Australia as well, it's a very two-party system, and America is an extreme two-party system. You basically have two jail wardens that you can choose from.
Yeah.
If you guys get enough popularity, does that really allow you to then run for, get the presidency?
Well, look, like the Libertarian Party is topped out at 1% of the general public in the elections, or the 1% of the electorate, which is nothing. So we've got nothing to lose. We are nothing right now. It's 1% is virtually zero. It's just as ineffective. So
Hmm.
uh, we might as well, like, maybe McAfee is more of a risk because he's unconventional, but we've got nothing to lose. We need to do something unconventional. Otherwise we're just going to be boring and ignored. Right
Yeah.
now, like Tatiana was saying, Trump has turned this into a reality show, and that's the terrain we're in at the moment. And I'm actually glad for that. I think that that's a great thing. And it allows people to see the elections as a sideshow, reality show nonsense that it is.
Hmm.
But at least let's put our best foot forward and have a guy that's actually interesting and engaging and dynamic in that. My only problem with Gary Johnson is not that he's not a purist, and not that I have differences with him on certain issues. It's that he's boring as hell. He's so awkward, and nobody's excited about him. Not even his supporters. Nobody. Austin has been surprising me lately. Actually, when he started off, I thought it was just a total joke. I gave it no regard at all. But he's legitimately impressing me. He's taken it very seriously. He's the issue I have with him. I like hanging out with him in person, but I wish he would drop some of that campaign veneer that he's got. He's just not. He's it's a little bit too plasticky polished sometimes.
He doesn't have the authenticity, you know?
Right,
That I think you need he's almost too polished, but I have to say, you know, Austin was definitely not my favorite horse in the race, and I've been very impressed with his performances. I saw him in Texas, and I saw him at the state LP, and then this weekend at the New York LP. He's got, you know, his rhetoric down. I don't know what was up with him ragging on the NAP for a while, but
yeah, he still does that.
that was weird.
Yeah, he is a little bit weird.
Is there
As
any?
opposed to the rest of the libertarian community, just totally like just normal.
Right.
Is there anything you can do to leverage Ron Paul's popularity? Even though he was running as a Republican, he did come. His roots were in the Libertarian Party. Is there any way you can leverage his followers? I mean, he has a very large following.
Absolutely. I actually don't really care about the Libertarian Party. The Libertarian Party, up to this point, has been useless. Actually, useless would be an improvement for the Libertarian Party. It's like that cage match arena where libertarians fight with each other over positions of no power. Really embarrassing. It's just been a big sinkhole of time, energy, money, resources, and emotion. The biggest sinkhole in the whole liberty movement.
I think that's general politics, and that's
it's because the politics is a zero-sum game. So I'm about the movement, and as long as and the cause.
Yeah.
Liberty movement and the liberty cause is my thing. If the Libertarian Party is helpful towards that, I'm all in. I would love a functional political arm of the liberty movement. Unfortunately, we have a very dysfunctional political arm, and it's just a sinkhole of resources, and that's unfortunate. I'd like these issues to be addressed so that they get improved, because I don't want us to not improve. So part of my campaign is focused on the Libertarian Party, but most of it is actually focused towards the liberty scene. So I've given Ron Paul a lot of nods. In the first two videos, he's been a presence in them. I think he would approve of the third video, which is about to launch in about an hour and a half today. So check that out. Each video is a completely different experience. The whole point of this campaign, what we're doing here, is to completely reimagine what's possible with politics. Because politics sucks, and we have no interest in going down the normal path. McAfee and I are both thoroughly nauseated by the generic political plastic we're all consuming. We want to do something very different. And I'll even be straight. I'm not even going after market share here. What we're going after is to move the liberty protest needle further than it's ever been moved before, so that it could be built off of. And to back up with Ron Paul, if you look at Ron Paul, he was, well, to back up even further, a lot of people come to me with business ideas all the time. I'm an entrepreneur, and they talk about the potential of their business ideas, and honestly, I don't give a shit about potential. Potential's nice, but what I care about is how much of that potential can be actualized, and usually I'm not impressed. How much of that can be actualized is all that matters. And if you look at Ron Paul, he's a quirky old guy leading with End the Fed. Not a lot of potential, but the hats off to him, because he squeezed out every drop of blood of that potential and actualized more than I can imagine anybody considering the potential of a quirky old guy leading with End the Fed. So much respect, so much hustle went into that. He got a lot of people involved. And then he moved, that was in 2008, and he moved it even further with 2012. I don't think he could go any further than he did. That was absolutely amazing.
Amazing. People putting up blimps for him, for God's sake. I mean, it was stunning. Incredible. It was incredible.
Because it was authentic. It wasn't even because a lot of the people didn't even know what End the Fed meant. But he was an authentic politician. And I feel like McAfee is such an incredible, dynamic character, media figure like him, has higher potential than Ron Paul to move this further. You know, but how much of that we actualize depends on hustle and depends on how much support we can generate. So that remains to be seen. But I think the potential is even higher than Ron Paul here.
Brilliant. I think so too. I mean, I think if we take it more as an educational thing, because a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to donate because it's a sinkhole and I'm just losing money and they're not going to win anyway. But really, if you think of donations, folks, to this campaign, you are donating towards an education campaign to bring forth the ideas and spread the ideas of liberty further than they have been before. And someone like McAfee, he really is a a massive personality who can inspire a lot of people. And I mean, Ron Paul inspired so many people. Like you said, it'll be amazing to see what McAfee does. When does the whole campaign really kick off?
Well, we've got to win the nomination in the end of May, so we've got a few weeks until the convention in Orlando, Florida. If anybody wants to come and join us for that, we are going to need delegates, and delegates means any warm body that is willing to come out to Orlando, Florida, and basically make one vote in the presidential election. Right now, we're planning something. I'm trying to rethink everything in politics that we're involved in. I have no interest in going down the beaten path, and so those videos were me reimagining what I can do with a campaign ad. Those didn't follow presidential campaign ads from before, let alone any political ad. And the third one that's launching today is unlike anything you've ever seen in a political ad, let alone a presidential ad. And the fourth one is actually even more out there, but I'm working on that right now. In any case, what we plan to do at this convention, what's in the works right now, and it's not ready yet, so we can't announce it, but I'm so excited with what we're planning. It has absolutely nothing to do with what you're expected or allowed to be doing in as far as convention floor game and what we're going to be bringing to Florida. It's going to shock people, and I think a lot of people are going to jump at the opportunity to be a part of this. I think years later, in 2025, people are going to be kicking themselves for missing the opportunity to be there in 2016. That's what I'm planning right now.
I love your optimism. I have a question for you. What do you think about some of the more controversial things about McAfee's past? I mean, you're
Sure.
a nice guy. You seem pretty trusting.
Sure.
How do you know that John McAfee isn't an evil
Murderer?
murderer? Yeah.
Right,
How do you know? Like, how do you?
Yeah.
I mean, he must be great.
Yeah, he gets that a lot. I feel so much empathy for him there because he was just it was an unfortunate smear in the media from Belize that started back. He got in a fight with the Belizean government. He has never been charged with a crime in Belize, a murder or anything, and he hasn't even been considered a suspect. He was not a suspect in that. His neighbor was killed, and they wanted to question the neighbors. He was a person of interest to question because he's a neighbor. That was it. He was never suspected. However, he was so hostile towards the Belizean government for various reasons, and I'll go back and I'll explain that. But because they considered him a person of interest, and he wasn't willing to talk to the Belizean government, and he actually escaped a manhunt in the jungles of Belize and escaped into Guatemala, which is crazy. People were wondering, is he a murderer? No, it had nothing to do with that. I can explain.
But how do you know that?
Okay, so let me explain the situation. This is really interesting. The guy, when he sold his shares in McAfee, the antivirus company, he was worth about $100 million. He bought a lot of properties, lived a rich man's life for a while, and then in 2008, property values collapsed, and his net worth dropped down to about $4 million, which is crazy. It's a big, huge plunge. However, or he auctioned everything off for $4 million and went to retire in Belize. $4 million will take you a long way in Belize, and he's just going to retire. It's a nice warm climate. So he's in Belize. He starts buying up property there, and he's enjoying his life. This politician asked him for a $2 million donation to his campaign. It was actually a very good situation where he was offering him all this land that was worth more than $2 million and all these tax breaks and all this stuff. And McAfee doesn't really give a shit, and he didn't want to be a part of that, so he told him no. Well, you don't do that in third world nations. You don't tell politicians no when they're offering you something like that. Like, for instance, I was in Serbia. You're Polish, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So I was in Serbia, and I saw all these houseboats on the houseboat cafes on the river, and every single one of them is mafia owned. You can own one if you're not mafia, but you have to pay protection money to protect you from the mafia. Otherwise, if you don't pay, a grenade will be in your cafe the next day. And that's how things work in third world nations. It's not the same here as it is here. There's a lot of corruption here. There's a lot more in third world nations. And so he experienced that. He told the politician no, and so to make it clear that they were serious, they sent 40-something highly trained anti-gang suppression unit military agents into his property, destroyed a lot of his property, held him handcuffed in the sun for 14 hours, and shot his dog in front of his eyes, and just destroyed a bunch of his property. It was really terrible. You know, this story is all online. But they let him go. The politician that was asking for the donation showed up the next day, apologizing profusely, said he's very sorry about this extreme mix-up. It was a huge mistake. Have you reconsidered your donation? So he told him to get the fuck off his property. I mean, he shot his dog, and you know, that's his friend. So, well, one of the guys did. So that began a war of words in the media, because McAfee started speaking out against the Belizean government, that they're corrupt, and then they started intensifying pressure on him, and eventually, one day, his neighbor was shot, and he thinks that it was a hit on him that went wrong. That's his belief. That's what he tells me. But in any case, as soon as that happened, police showed up at his property. He hid himself in the sand to hide from the police. It's a long story. He ended up getting out of there and just bailing, leaving behind all of his stuff with bags. He didn't even have a charger for his iPad, and he's blogging the whole time. He goes on the run. He escapes a manhunt through the Belizean jungles and gets into Guatemala. He ends up coming back to America through Guatemala. He arrives in America penniless, completely broke. A few years before that, he was worth over $100 million. So I've had some financial roller coasters myself, but not like that. That's pretty insane. And then, to top it off, the property that he had over there that he had put up for sale, mysteriously, that property burned down to the ground. Not any of his neighbors, but his property did. To make it really clear to everybody there, you don't screw with the government. There's no point to get into a fight with them. And that was a big mistake for McAfee. He lost a lot of money. He lost everything because he wasn't willing to cooperate with authorities. But he's kind of had that attitude. He's kind of lived a more libertarian lifestyle than any of us have, or a lot longer than us.
That was another question I had. What's up with his libertarian status? Because there's been some criticism. Of course, there's always the libertarian Nazi police.
Yeah,
saying,
sure.
You're not libertarian enough.
Sure.
What do you think? Do you think he's libertarian enough? You're basically an anarchist, so you know.
So I don't call myself an anarchist. I just want the most voluntary society possible.
Fair
If
enough.
that's anarchy, limited government, whatever's the most voluntary society possible, I'm on board with.
I like that.
So McAfee has been living a libertarian lifestyle longer than any of us. He's 70 years old. He's been arrested multiple times for smoking pot and then going back to the same place and smoking pot again. And he's had a fuck the authority attitude for longer than any of us. That's the truth. Now,
have you even been alive?
Yeah, he's been a libertarian longer than I've been alive. No, he hasn't been deep in the politics and deep into the philosophy. He's had that. He read a Henry Thoreau piece long ago when he was young about your body belongs to you, and all that stuff stuck with him this whole time. So he's lived a very libertarian lifestyle and had that philosophy guide him. However, he hasn't dived deep into the philosophy itself. So he's relatively new to the scene and to the party. However, he's not as fluent as many of us who have gone really far down the rabbit hole. But he's plenty fluent enough. He's plenty libertarian enough, as far as I'm concerned, more than that. And he's able to communicate these ideas from a philosophical approach, but that's still very simple and digestible to people, which is what I like. And what matters here is that our role in this campaign is simply to do a division of labor, which hasn't really been done. Our role is to catch attention, turn heads, and introduce people to these ideas, and then send them down the factory assembly line to other libertarian voices in the scene for deeper digging to become get more into liberty and the libertarian philosophy. So our role is just to be introductory, and he's phenomenal at that role, more than good. And often you don't want a high-level advanced theoretical mathematician to be teaching basic algebra. This is very simple stuff. And we just want people to dip their toes in, get into this stuff, and I'm trying to make it as easy as possible to do so.
What I like about... Oh, sorry, Tatiana.
Another question on my mind was, what's his position on Bitcoin beyond like, yay, Bitcoin? I mean, have you talked to him extensively about Bitcoin? Obviously, we air on Let's Talk Bitcoin, and a lot of our listeners are interested in that kind of thing. So what's the scoop on that?
I talked to him briefly, actually. He seems very enthusiastic from what I gather. But we didn't get into too much about it. But yeah, no, he's a supporter of Bitcoin. Absolutely. I'm a huge supporter of Bitcoin myself.
Okay.
I'm incredibly enthusiastic about it.
Very cool.
There's some really, I mean, what I like about John is that he's, comes from a technical background, and the more that we can move politics away from, well, human politics, and more about actual structured contracts between voluntary people, the better. And I think things like these smart contracts that are either being built on top of Bitcoin or on top of Ether are a really great big step forward. And I'd like to see, what I love is the spark of imagination that some writers and thinkers in the space come up with for solutions for problems using some of these things. So, for instance, Adam B. Levine, the other day I listened to him, he was talking about how tokens can stop trains by train crashes by every time a train has to go through a certain off section, it pays a token to say, okay, now I'm in here, and no other train can get into there until they pay a cryptographic token. And when it leaves the space, it then retrieves the token to say, okay, I'm out. And we would never have these train crashes. I mean, that's not a political example, but
that's cool.
It's thinking outside the square of how you can use technology to solve problems. And I think I've also seen like a decentralized boardroom being through the Ethereum platform. And that's super cute. He really looks like a tiny, minuscule cat sitting on top of your shoulder.
My cat perched, licking herself.
Perched on your shoulder as a tiny little thing.
It kind of feels like it's on my shoulder, yeah.
But yeah, that's a decentralized boardroom where everything's on the blockchain, and you can then pay people through smart contracts or shareholders. And totally transparent. Companies can be transparent. So it's amazing stuff. So I'd like to, I mean, that's what I like about John is I think he would embrace a lot of this stuff to take away power from government.
We are going for a very tech-centered campaign. Our logo, I told the designer that it cannot look presidential. I wanted it. That was a specific requirement. No red, white, and blue flags and maps of America. It's very modern, modern futurist, actually. I wanted it to be clean, sophisticated, bold, and edgy, but that modern futurist was important, partially because of McAfee being a tech CEO, a famous tech CEO, and partially just because I'm a techie and I liked it better. So yes, the tech element is a big part of our campaign because it's very forward-looking, and it allows us to be very distinctive from this old fuddy-duddy, like politics as we know it. We want to be completely different from that. And there's a book I read a long time ago called Differentiate or Die, and that kind of helped influence me here. I want to totally differentiate ourselves. The videos weren't coming from a different place. They were coming from a different galaxy. I wanted people to see you could do something totally different with videos. And we're going to be doing a lot of things that are absolutely not okay on this campaign, but are totally okay by libertarian standards.
Well, so, I think Americans are a bit more open right now to non-political correctness. I mean, I think that's all of Trump's campaign is about non-political correctness, and people are jumping on that. People are loving it.
I want to push the goalposts way past Trump. One of the ideas is I'm going to make an instructional video of how to buy antibiotics on the darknet.
Nice.
And I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff like that. This is a protest campaign. We're moving the liberty protest needle further, and it's a publicity campaign. We're going to be leveraging our assets to get as much attention as humanly possible. And not only that, but I'm actually reaching out to the anarchist community in a big way that politicians generally don't do. Not only do they disregard them, they usually kick them away. But like, for instance, I was on Jeff Berwick's Anarchast show where he says in anarchy, every other word comes out of his mouth. He endorsed us for president and vice president, which is unusual. I'm also got word from Jennifer Grossman, the new CEO of Atlas Society, the cool objectivist, not the asshole objectivist, but the cool objectivist. We're getting an endorsement. I'm also getting a lot of buzz from the Young Americans for Liberty, Ron Paul Republican crew. I'm really bringing a unity message here among the liberty scene, because while our arrows aren't always lined up exactly in the same our arrows aren't always lined up correctly. However, the general trajectory is the same, and I think we can work together to move the country and move the movement further along that trajectory. So I think our campaign is trying to be the figurehead of that.
Absolutely, and
I love it.
really, yeah. I think that's how I felt about the Ron Paul thing as well, is that he was pulling people, young kids who didn't really, and people from the left were saying, yeah, wow, anti-war and all this sort of stuff. And I think the concept of liberty and the libertarian philosophy really does align with people on the left as well. They just don't understand it yet. They don't understand how that works. And so I feel that there's a lot of resonance in a lot of different philosophies that can be grabbed onto, and hopefully that will work.
Yeah, wait till you see the third video we put out today. And not only that, we're getting interest from Bernie fans right now. The hard left Bernie supporters, we have no shot with. But the festival scene and the artists, we absolutely do, because I think McAfee is a lot more appealing to that crowd than Hillary Clinton is.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching out to them in a big way, actually.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So guys, unfortunately we have to wrap up. We've got another special guest coming on, actually calling from Africa, which I think is really cool. What are the upcoming events like that people can go to see you guys? I'm going to be at the Libertarian Convention in Orlando. Are you guys having an awesome party? Because if so, I would like to go.
Okay, awesome is not the word. You won't believe the party that we're planning. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And I know that I want your high, because however high you hold them, we're going to beat that. You won't believe what we're planning. It's really exciting. And this is what we're going to bring to the convention floor is going to change what people realize is possible in politics. So yes, it's going to be incredible, and I'm so glad you're going to be there. And I hope, I wish I was able to announce exactly what the plans were yet, but I'm so excited when I to do that. So yes, we're going to do something really cool. And yeah, I have a reputation for throwing awesome parties, but I've never done anything like this.
Wow,
so
that's
this is
great.
Another level. Yeah.
I'm going to be down there from the 22nd until that Monday, I think. I got Lynn Ulbrich to come. My friend Gary from Snoop Wall is putting us up. So that was really nice. So yeah, keep me posted. I'm really excited.
Nice. Actually, maybe you can play a song at the party.
I would love to. That's I would love to do that, actually. My voice is finally better. I did a gig last night. And it was the first time in 2 years that my voice sounded really spot on. It was a good feeling. So I'd love to do it, definitely.
Beautiful. And
I want to be there now.
Oh yeah, come, man. Where are you?
I tried to get Josh to come to New York, and he's a wuss.
Josh, where are you?
We're based in Berlin. Voltaire is based in Berlin. Yeah, but New York, America, it's not that far away.
Yeah, maybe you can come. You could have the whole family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Okay, so we need a magic word because we're broadcasting on IPM Nation, Liberty.me, LRN.FM, and then also on Let's Talk Bitcoin, where they have like a magic phrase or a magic word. So I will let you choose, Judd.
Okay.
You choose our magic word or phrase. It can't be like Judd Weiss is the best, although I would actually approve that. But besides that.
What is the magic word for? What am I supposed to say?
I don't know. It's just supposed to be a magic word, so people can, I don't know. It's like a thing.
Yeah,
pick a magic word.
All right, McAfee.
No, that's too like advertiser-ish.
Oh, okay.
Like a phrase. Oh, let's do your campaign slogan. I love it. Let life
Okay.
live.
Let life live. Let's do that.
Let life live, everyone. I really liked that. I'm so excited
Okay.
for you. Maybe you could pop on, give us an update. Hopefully, you guys will get elected down in Orlando. This is wonderful.
Cool.
Thanks
Yeah,
so much.
we
Where do
hope
we
that people
go?
can bealibertarian.com is the website, is our new campaign site, and we need donations, yes, we need volunteers, and we need delegates because this is a delegate battle right now. So anybody who's willing to be in Orlando and come join us in what we're planning, that's what we need right now. It's a delegate fight at
Do
the
we get
very
a free
moment.
pony?
Of course.
Oh,
And
okay.
and folks, they accept Bitcoin, so jump
Yes, we
on
do.
to bealibertarian.com and throw some cash at them.
Wait, before you go, do you have your cat handy so the people that are watching this video can
Yes.
see the angriest cat known to man? This is extremely exciting, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about the
She
presidential
eats
election.
she eats Grumpy Cat for breakfast, and here she is.
Oh my God!
Oh, it's the best cat ever. I just want to cuddle it and
I
force it
mean,
to cuddle with me.
our views differ on a lot of things. Like she believes in eradicating humanity, and I think that's wrong. But I'm thinking about bringing her on the campaign. What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
She's
she
We'll
just
couldn't get any more grumpy than she is.
We're gonna write press releases distancing ourselves from some of her positions. But in any case, like mandatory catnip for all is not resonating with most voters, even though she wants that to happen.
I'm not
and
paying
folks,
for your damn catnip.
and folks, this is a good reminder to subscribe to the video channel because you're missing out on these great shots of this cat.
Yes. Okay, cool. So bealibertarian.com. Josh is at voltoro.com. If you want to find out more, subscribe to our channel, Forever More Tatiana. It's like one central hub. TatianaMorose.com has all the old shows, but you could check out with all of our syndication partners respectively. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for joining us, Judd.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Peace out. Later,
Thanks, guys.
dude.
See you guys.
Bye.
Ciao.